Hello, my name is Jana. I live in a forest. This is one of my cats. And today we're going to finish making a new quilt out of old stuff. This is the second part of a video that I made several weeks ago. And here's where we left off. I have finished making a quilt top out of some old blocks that previously were pillow covers for some windowsill pillows for my pets. So now it's going to be a puppy quilt. It's not going to be very big. And here's what I need to do. I ordered some stuff and we're going to look at it. One of the decisions that I had to make is what do I do for the binding? And I didn't have any of this fabric that used to be a jelly roll. I didn't have any of it left. I had a little, but not enough, definitely. And I wanted something kind of similar. And I'm in Russia, so I'm kind of limited in my options right now. So I found something that looked like it would fit, but it's not a perfect fit, but it's a puppy quilt, so who cares? I found this fabric. I think it could be from Turkey. I'm not quite sure. It's very kind of interesting pattern. And on the surface, it looks like those are related, but when you look closely, well, there are some kind of, I don't know, oriental motifs, something like, paisleys and stuff, but it looks like this was done by a designer in a studio, and this looks a bit more authentic. It's probably from Turkey, I'm not sure, but it looks kind of very cool and natural and wood printed and all that. And this looks very, very clean and polished and calculated. So they are kind of not in the same universe stylistically, but nobody is going to notice because this is going to be a very, very thin strip of fabric on the edge. So I think we're good. But it's a very cool fabric. I was thinking about doing it for the backing, but decided against it eventually. So let's talk about backing. There are several different options that I kind of thought through, and here are the options. Option one is, as always, find an old bed sheet or something of that nature, like maybe something in my stash, because I have some solid fabric in my stash that I did buy for backing. So I have some bed sheets specifically bought for that purpose, but because it's going to be a puppy quilt, I wanted it to be a little bit sturdier and maybe even waterproof. So I thought I can always do a bed sheet if I want to, but I wanted to try some heavy Oxford fabric. Is it called Oxford anywhere outside Russia? Yes, it is. So I ordered some very durable polyester, smelly Oxford fabric just to see how it feels. Because I live in the middle of nowhere, I have to order things to even touch them. Like in a city, I can go to a store and touch a bunch of things. I used to just go to a fabric store and touch things because I don't know how things feel. This is very durable, waterproof fabric, water resistant at least. It's made out of nylon. It has a very distinct smell. It's a nice color. but it feels terrible. And my idea was that if we go to a picnic, I can throw this blanket onto the ground and it won't get wet. Or if there's an accident and somebody pees on the blanket, it's not going to leak through. So from a practical standpoint, maybe using something like this could work, but I just hated it as soon as I saw it. It's too heavy. I mean, I have a big thing of fabric, but it's just unpleasant. And the final thought of my decision making progress was that if this thing does get wet, it's going to take ages to dry, and it's going to lead to all sorts of problems. So I decided against it. Next option is something that I tried before, so I knew what I was getting myself into. It's twill. It's used for making like work clothes. It's it it looks like denim. It's a lot like denim, but it's not denim, and it's 100% cotton fabric. It's affordable and durable, and I'm not going to be afraid that it's going to be easily damaged. I worked with it before. I made 2 puppy quilts with twill for backing. Like one of them, it's I use the self-binding method, and it works fine. It's like a couple years old now. Looks great and works great. And it did lose the color a little with washes, but it works. So that was something that I decided on. I'm going to use this for the backing. What do we have left? We have to talk about wadding, and wadding is going to be the fanciest thing of this whole project because I'm using leftovers from my 100% cotton wadding that I bought for the EPP quilt, and it's not this. I'm going to have to piece it because it's not the right shape, but I have enough to make one seam, and it's going to be just right for this small project. So I'm going to use the best wadding I have. That's another reason why I shouldn't probably use the bed sheet for the backing, because, well, I'm using the fancy wadding, leftover blocks, mismatched fabric, and it's going to be for the dogs. So I don't know where my logic is, but here's the idea. First thing that I need to do is I need to piece the wadding, make the sandwich, maybe prepare the binding in advance, and yeah, I can start working now. Yesterday I took my time and Frankenstein the wadding together. It's just a little seam. It's barely even visible. It is pretty visible, but it's not very visible on camera. It's there. It's going to be okay. So now that the wadding is ready, I'm going to try and venture into the unknown and try something that I never really tried before. Well, I never tried it before, really. So I'm going to try glue basting my quilt. I did a little test a couple days ago to make sure that there is no changes in color of my fabric, that nothing weird is going on. So here's my little sample basted. I should run a couple stitches through it, I think, just to make sure that everything's fine. I just don't like introducing glue into any situation, but I thought it might make things quicker. The reason why I even bought the glue in the first place is because I was going to use the Oxford for the backing, and I thought that I want to make as few holes in the backing as I can, and basting in all other ways requires making some holes in the fabric, like either pins or just thread basting. Everything makes holes in the fabric, and I thought that if I use glue basting I will have minimal amount of holes in the fabric where I don't want them. So that's why I have the glue, and I thought, well, I should give it a try, because having it in my arsenal as something that I can use can be helpful. So that's first thing that we're going to try that I don't normally do. And the second thing is we're going to be machine quilting this quilt on my vintage machine. To be honest with you, I never gave machine quilting an honest try because I just don't feel like it. The small things that I did quilt on a machine just felt a little bit rigid. I didn't like that, but I cannot say that, well, I've explored this possibility to the fullest. No, I haven't. So we're going to be quilt, machine quilting this quilt on my vintage 75-year-old machine, and it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And the main upside of that is it's going to be really quick. I think that the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set up the sewing machine and make some test stitches just to make sure that everything's fine and the stitching works on a glued sandwich like this. It must work, but I just need to make sure. I had to take the machine down because I needed this as a table. It works great as a table. When I first got the machine, it worked as a table for, I don't know, 2 years. Maybe even more. Well, a couple years for sure. It just worked as a table. And it was an excellent table. And good knows how many years it worked as a table at the previous house where she was in. Because I know for sure that that's what she did there. Sorry about the mess. I won't be able to get away with using green thread, I don't think. So let's change it. I got myself some bobbins for this machine because they're a little bit wider on the inside than the typical plastic ones that I had. I love this machine. It's the best thing that happened to me on accident. It's not pretty, but it works. Um, I can start working on the main thing. Let's do the backing. I'm probably doing something wrong here, but I'm doing my best. Make sure that everything lines up. Making sure that I have enough. Everything is a little bit sticky right now, but I'm sure that it's temporary. Moment of truth. If I don't like what I do right now, I can go back and take out the stitching and do everything by hand. This quilt isn't that big, and doing it by hand isn't going to be too much of an issue. But if I can do it by machine, and if it can look good enough on a machine, then it's going to be a good thing. It would be nice to have a walking foot. It would be nice to have a bigger sewing surface. It would be nice if my big electric machine wasn't broken, but we'll work with what we have. Plan B is always do it by hand, and it gives me comfort, considering that I like hand-quilted quilts. I know that I like hand-quilted quilts, so it's always the safest option, and the option that I would honestly prefer, but I'm just trying to save some time. Let's go. Oh God. No. I'm taking out my stitches because couple issues. First of all, it's not very straight, and my choke line is a little bit too wide, so I cannot see exactly where the line is. And the second problem is that the quilt is kind of heavy, so I'm moving it with my both hands, and so I don't give the machine a chance to choose the speed and the stitch length. I'm kind of dragging it along manually, which is wrong. So I just don't think that I'm doing a very good job here. But I'm going to give it another try. Maybe that the fact that the stitch lines are a little bit wonky, it doesn't matter that much because it won't be very visible. But I need to do something with the way I feed the quilt into the machine. Something needs to be done here. I'm making it more stressful than it should be. I'm giving it another try, and here's what it reminds me of. A long time ago, I was learning to play the drums, and when something doesn't go as planned, like when I'm trying to play something difficult, the comment that I got from my teacher was, just relax. Just relax. You're too stressed. You need to be more relaxed. And it always felt like an insult, like, what do you mean? How do I just relax if the whole situation is so stressful that I cannot relax? And the reason why I'm so tense is because I'm here and I'm doing this. I cannot just relax. I think that what I need to do right now is just relax. Because actually the machine is feeding the quilt through the feed dogs just fine. I just need to breathe out, slow down, maybe go on a walk, and it's going to be fine. It's just a quilt. It's a puppy quilt. You know what? I'm going to call it a success. Who cares? Um, a wonky seam never killed anyone, so I'll just keep going and hope for the best. I went on my mental health walk and I came back, and suddenly it feels like having one wonky seam is much worse than having many wonky seams, because they kind of um, dance together and they make a beautiful um, kind of thing. And yeah, mental health walks solve all your problems with wonky seams because they stop being a problem. Uh, but I'm about a quarter way through. It's going well. I'm even okay with uh, stitching in the ditch, which I don't know why I have feelings against this, but it just feels like something wrong. But yeah, it's not perfect, and you definitely can see the stitching, and yeah, but it's fine. And I'm getting better at sticking to the straight lines, as straight as they are. They're not very straight to begin with. So, yeah, it's going well. And this is what not having a walking foot looks like. The machine is dragging the material, and I was trying to alternate the direction of my sewing, but yeah, that's what it looks like. It's fine. Started edging the second direction, and here you can see that the wonkiness gets more obvious, and the lighting kind of accentuates the pull on the fabric. In reality, I don't see it as much, but here the shadows are crazy. But you know what? It's quilted. The stitching distorted the fabric a little bit. I can tell that this line goes kind of like this, you know. Um, it pulls in different directions, but it's not very obvious, and I'm definitely not going to redo it. A quilted quilt. See you tomorrow for the binding. It's the next day. I have my binding ready. I I kind of rolled it onto a gift card, um, and I placed one pin in the middle of one of the sides so that I can start sewing. Today is one of those days when I don't feel like doing anything productive. I just I just want to take a nap from the moment when I woke up. So doing something that doesn't require any thinking can be a good thing. I sit here stitching down the binding. Here it is, my favorite step. Um, and I've realized that I forgot to make a quilt label. Maybe I just didn't think to make a quilt label because it's a puppy quilt, a practice quilt. It's made out of recycled blocks, so I don't feel like it deserves its own quilt label, but it would be interesting to date it and also to test how permanent a micron pen is. I have a micron, it's really thick, so I'm just going to date it in the corner and we'll see how long it lasts. I mean, we'll see in a couple years' time, maybe we'll check on it. And I also want to date the puppy quilts that I made previously. I'm going to just write a date on the back of the quilts and just see what happens. It's not going to hurt. Here it is. It's before a wash. It's fully functional as a puppy quilt. And to be completely honest with you, the more I look at it, the more I kind of accept it as it is. It's a little bit, you know, I was fully expecting of myself to make a perfect machine quilted quilt on a first try. And I was going to do it without a walking foot on a vintage machine. It didn't quite work, but you know what love is? When you look at someone and you feel like, well, you don't look that great, but I still love you because you are my person. I think that this quilt is going to be just like this. I wouldn't wash it if it wasn't for the video, because for the dogs this is perfectly fine and they're going to like it. But I'm going to give it a quick wash and we'll see how it looks after it has been through a machine. And this is what it looks like after a wash. I mean, can you even tell how crooked it is? Some closing thoughts. I took some risks this week, something that I don't normally do, because making a quilt top requires quite a lot of time and effort and materials. So I don't enjoy taking risks with something that I don't normally do. Like I did the glue basting thing, I did the machine quilting thing, and I normally don't do those things because I'm not sure what the result is going to look like, and I don't want to risk a perfectly good quilt top and potentially ruin it if something goes wrong. So that's why I don't try new things. So maybe I should think about making some practice pieces, something that's just, maybe I'm interested in a technique, maybe some wall hanging things, something that doesn't have to be a product, something that I can just make and see how it goes. Because right now I've unlocked a new baseline for my machine quilting. Like it's not perfect. I was fully expecting it to be perfect, but it's not perfect, but it's not horrible, and I can live with it. So I can just know that this is how bad it will probably look if I quilt something on a machine. But it saved me so much time. And this quilt is perfectly functional and the dogs are going to love it. And nobody is going to examine it as closely as I do now. So I think that the thing that I learned this week is that I should do more practice quilts, and it's not as scary as it looks. And it can be a lot of fun, and most importantly, you can make something that looks kind of decent even without a walking foot. As I was procrastinating on editing this video, I accidentally made another little thing. I think it's going to be a wall hanging to replace this one, because this is a puppy quilt that I borrowed from my puppies and they want it back. So here it is.